HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Having It All podcast. My name is Matthew Bivens, and I welcome you to this episode where we're once again talking about what it looks like to have it all. What it looks like to have an abundant, loving life. I love these conversations. They're so freaking awesome, so real, so raw. And this context is like nothing you've ever heard of before. This context of having it all, meaning an abundant, loving life. Like this is something that everybody has the ability to experience. Everybody can have it all when you're looking through it through this particular lens. And that's why I so love these conversations. So welcome. Today's episode is a rebroadcast of an episode that I did back in the day, back in like 2016. And it's a great one because I'm talking about mission statements. And mission statements have been popping up all over the place for me recently. Last week, I just wrapped up a mission statement with a client, and it was just such an amazing process. You know, we spent months pulling together all the little pieces that went in to his mission statement, and to see it just come together and coalesce, and to hear him read it and hear like that energy, it just like blew right through the phone, and it was amazing. And I love it. I freaking love it. And simultaneously, I'm also working on this course I've been talking to you all about for the past several months now. And the mission statement portion of it is it's so awesome. You know, it's one of those things that I really can't wait to get out and get into your hands so that you can be creating a powerful mission statement in your life. And so I felt it was fitting that when I wanted to rebroadcast an episode, I would do one on mission statements. And what's cool about this one is I have a guest with me. Sarah joins me on this episode, my amazing wife, Sarah, who is also a balanced lifestyle coach and who has helped so many people create personal mission statements. And we have a really awesome conversation about mission statements and why they're powerful and how to put them together. And we give examples and all sorts of cool stuff. And we also recorded this before we had Maya. So we were pregnant at the time. And that's kind of cool as well. We talk about that briefly, just to sort of mention it. And this is a great episode. And for anybody who, has heard me talk about mission statements a lot, and maybe you haven't actually sat down to create one for yourself, or maybe you don't know how to create like the real thick, juicy mission statement like I have, and you just want to kind of get something out there, right? This episode is going to help you with that. It's going to at least help to to reinforce the reasons why it's going to be an awesome, awesome thing for you to have. Whether it's a single word, right, like the word for the year that we've done, or maybe it's just a single sentence, like a statement, or if you want a full-fledged mission statement, whatever you choose, having something that's going to act as your North Star to help guide you, to help keep you aligned with that person you want to become is such a freaking powerful tool. And so this episode is going to help get you in that frame of mind, help give you a few things that you can think about when crafting your mission statement. And I'm excited. I'm super excited. So check it out. It's going to be great. That's all I got to say. All right. So here's the episode with Sarah and I talking about mission statements. Today, I have a very unique and special episode of the podcast for you all. It is unique and special for two big reasons. The first reason is that I am not alone here in the studio. I have someone with me here in the flesh for the very first time that I've done a conversation where I can stare at the person across from me. And the second reason why this is a unique episode is because the person I'm staring at is Sarah, my beautiful, amazing, powerful wife. What's going on, Sarah? Say hello to everyone out there.
Hello, Bivens. Wow, what an intro. I am honored because I am not just your wife, but I'm actually a fan of the show. I really, really enjoy the show. I listen to it, as you know, as I'm in the car and on my commutes, and I love it. So, I've listened to all of your episodes, and I have stuff from all of them that I've really enjoyed. So now I'm excited to be part of that roster of people to be on Having It All with Matthew Bivens.
Hell yeah! Now you're on the other side of the operation. So for everyone out there who is listening, for you right now, it might sound a little different than normal episodes. The reason is because we have a slightly unique setup going on here to accommodate both people. Normally the studio is set up for a single person, and now that we've got three people. We have three people here in the studio because Sarah and I right now are pregnant. So we got baby Maya hanging out with us, making her podcast debut, and we're at week 24.
Yes.
Week 24. So again, it might sound a little different because I have a unique setup. So if there's any echo, if you hear us moving around or drinking water, just know that's why. So today's episode is a continuation from last week. Last week's episode is called, I'm pulling it up right now, it was called How Do I Make Sure I'm on Path to My Greatest Self? If you haven't listened to last week's episode, I encourage you to check it out. You don't need to listen to it before this one, but go back because the topics are very, very similar. At the end of last week's episode, I left you all with a cliffhanger. We were talking about being on path and the importance of feedback to make sure that you are on path in life. I told the story, I don't know, of an airplane and how when an airplane takes off from its from its starting point, headed towards its destination, it uses feedback along the way to make sure that it's on course. And the reality is that an airplane is off course more than it is on course, but it is that feedback that helps it get back. It's those instruments that tell it the altitude and the direction of the wind and the bearing to make sure that the plane can make slight adjustments to get back on path. That was the topic of last week's episode, and I ended by saying if the airplane doesn't know where it's headed, if it doesn't know its final destination, then the feedback is moot. It doesn't really matter. And knowing your final destination, knowing where you're headed, can also be described as having a mission statement. So that was the cliffhanger last week, leaving you all with this concept of mission statement, and that is where we are picking up today.
HelloFresh takes the guesswork and the extra hassle out of planning and preparing delicious meals for dinner. America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh gives you over 40 recipes to choose from each week. And then your farm-fresh, pre-portioned seasonal ingredients arrive at your doorstep with simple instructions to help you feel like the master chef of your kitchen. And did you know that HelloFresh is cheaper than grocery shopping and 25% less expensive than takeout? HelloFresh has been an awesome addition to our household's dinner routine. We all get involved and cook together, following the pictured step-by-step instructions. It's a fun quality time, and the meals are delicious. Give it a try and see for yourself. Go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall for 50% off plus free shipping. Again, to get 50% off plus free shipping, go to HelloFresh.com/50havingitall and use code 50havingitall.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
So the reason why I brought Sarah in here and why Sarah's my guest today is because you are an expert when it comes to mission statements. Ooh. Yes, you are. And I say that not only because you've created mission statements for yourself, a number of them. How many have you created so far? I'm probably on my third iteration right now and due to assess a fourth, so move into that next stage. So that's the cool thing about it. It's always growing and evolving. It's this living, breathing thing. You don't just write it and tattoo it on your forehead or etch it in stone, and that's the end of it. You really, it grows with you. So I feel ready to move into the next stage of my mission. And that's, Sarah, you've created a number of mission statements, but you've also helped so many people create mission statements of their own. Because that's one of the core things that you do with your clients as a lifestyle coach. And that's why I wanted you here as an expert. You've studied mission statements. You've been taught all about them and about the processes and everything that goes into them. You've done dozens and dozens of mission statements with people. And the two of us have created a program to help people go through mission statements. So when it comes to mission statements, you are the expert, definitely in this house, but broader as well. Well, thank you. I received that. I feel as though I can wear on that title or that role because of all of the powerful experts I've been able to be around. I'm so grateful for the coaching and the mentorship I've been able to receive. And I think that's what is a huge contributing factor to my ability to then go out and be able to do it for others. So it's really just this cycle, my way of expressing gratitude for the space that's been held for me by so many to now carry that on and do it for other people. So it's really just this, not an obligation, it's a responsibility that I take on joyfully, that now I have this information, I have these tools, I have this power, really. It only improves the world around me to assist others in doing the same. Absolutely, and especially with something like a mission statement, because they can be so instrumental in helping people achieve their greatness. Because essentially what a mission statement is it's like a North Star. For you listening, if you are kind of thinking, well, what are you talking about with a mission statement? Think about your favorite brand, right? Most businesses, most brands have some sort of mission statement that you can find on their website, or if you go in their office, their mission statement might be written on the wall. I know that was the case in the startup we worked at. We had the mission statement and the values written like literally on the wall. And I think that's a context that most people can get with when it comes to mission statements. And they kind of operate the same way, a business mission statement versus a personal mission statement, because the business mission statement really helps the business and everybody involved in the business know the direction they're headed. It helps everyone know what the business is playing for. It sets that, it sets that standard. It sets that end destination. And like I said, it's a North Star. And a personal mission statement does exactly the same thing for your life. It's what you're playing for in life. It sets that objective, and it kind of puts a flag in the ground. Boom, this is what I'm playing for. And, that's how you can measure everything against. all your decision making. You can measure your job and your career. You can measure the partner that you're potentially thinking of shacking up with. You can measure those things against your mission statement to see, is this going to help me get closer to my mission statement or further away from a mission statement?
And before you even get to that, before you lay that stake in the ground, there's all of this self-discovery work to do before it, which is what I really enjoy and what I love taking clients through, is this self-discovery process of what even matters to me, what pisses me off, who do I hang around, who do I want to hang around, how do I contribute to the world around me, how do I want to contribute to the world around me, really evaluating and doing this self-introspection to then be able to put out this bold statement, right, of, okay, now I'm clear on who I am, now this is where I'm going. So there's all this back work that takes place before you get to that statement, and then
you take it from there.
Exactly.
And Sarah, I'm going to ask you towards the second third, or towards the end of this conversation, I want you to take us through the steps, the process for creating a mission statement. Because, if we've piqued your curiosity, listener, if we've kind of sparked something in you, I want you to be able to walk away from this with some concrete steps and a concrete process that you can take yourself through to then develop a mission statement. So we'll get to that a little later on. But right now, what I want to do is I want to read something from a book that really is the first place that I heard about a personal mission statement. And that's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People from Stephen Covey. So there are 7 habits that Covey goes into in this book. And the second habit is begin with the end in mind. And so let's go back to the plane analogy. When the pilot and whoever is coordinating the flight, when they begin with the end in mind, what that means is they know they're flying from Atlanta to LA. Right? So LA is the end in mind. So keep that in your head as I read these excerpts, because we're doing the same thing with personal mission statements, right? We're thinking about our end point. We're thinking about what it is that we want to create, what it is we want to experience, how we want to feel. We're keeping that end in mind as we go into this process of developing a mission statement. So I have a quick paragraph I just want to read straight from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The most effective way I know to begin with the end in mind is to develop a personal mission statement or philosophy or creed. It focuses on what you want to be, character, and to do, contributions and achievements, and on the values or principles upon which being and doing are based. So that is straight from 7 Habits. That is the essence of what the personal mission statement is. Right? It focuses on what you want to be and what you want to do. What you want to be and what you want to do. And then it looks at the different values or principles upon which that being or doing is based. And that's powerful right there. You think about the impact of having a statement like that, having that personal philosophy or creed in your life, just the power that simply having a personal mission statement, what it can do for you.
Absolutely. I don't have much more to add to that. That really sums it up awesomely. The being and doing. I think it's really poignant that came at the end of the statement, because it's really about the being and the doing and what you're proclaiming when you put out a statement like that.
Yeah, and let's talk about what it was. Do you remember what it was like before you had a mission statement?
Yes, I can glean some memories here and there of just some of those feelings of being lost and maybe frustrated or not knowing what I wanted to do. I think the letdown can be bigger with certain things, or you get feelings like disappointment, right? Because you have attachment to things, because you're not clear on what you're doing or what you're playing for, what you're about. So it can be really easy in a state like that to blame other people, right? Because you're not in a space of responsibility. You're not taking full ownership and power over your actions or what shows up in your life. So I can I can kind of remember some of those moments.
I remember vividly in high school and college, undergrad, and even through grad school, the feeling of being lost and the feeling of not having a direction.
Oh, yeah.
And the amount of stress and anxiety I allowed myself to experience because I judged feeling lost.
Yeah. And this need or this overwhelming thing, this tick, this almost like a tumor that you need to figure it out.
Yeah.
What is it, this elusive it? When really now looking back, of course, with the understanding and self-awareness that I have now, it's about figuring you out, not it. It is this external thing. But if you can work from within, figure you out in a loving, patient process, which takes a lot of support and time and energy. If you do that, then it kind of falls away. You don't necessarily have to figure anything outside of you out because you're clear on who you are. And who is expected at 15 to figure themselves out, right?
And it's funny. I one of our favorite comedians is Louis C.K. and he has that joke about I guess millennials.
Yes, young people who had a job ever doing anything.
No, he talks. He's talking about young people, and he's like, "What am I gonna do with my life? Like, what am I going to do with my life?" And the punchline of his joke is your whole life needs to be shoveling food into your mouth and then crapping it out the other side.
Yeah, that's all you actually need to do.
But what I love about that is I have absolutely said the question to myself, what am I going to do with my life? And I know that so many people out there who, it doesn't matter what your age is. I've heard people in all different, spaces in life say that question. And a mission statement doesn't answer that question for you. A mission statement isn't, I am going to become a doctor. That's not a mission statement. Right? But what a mission statement will do is it will help you clarify what's important for you at this point in time so that you can understand the bigger things that you're playing for. The bigger things could be those values. Could be peace. Could be happiness. Family. It helps you to understand those bigger things so that when you are presented with opportunities, maybe it's a career decision, a big life, a crossroads in life, you can pull out your mission statement, read it, and say, okay, if I make this decision, is this going to get me closer to experiencing what I wrote in my mission statement? Is it going to get me further away from it? And again, going back to my high school, my college, my graduate self, I can only imagine what my experience would have been like if I had done that work to really understand what was important to me and to really just think about who I was and what I wanted to experience. Because I think I was asking the wrong questions, right? Like I was asking the questions of what, and I'm using judgment words, what should I be doing with my life?
Right. Or back to the Louis C.K. thing that you said, what am I going to do with my life?
Yeah.
This idea that a life is something to be done with rather than be with. So what do I do with my life rather than who do I be in this life? That context shift, what all the difference that makes.
It's wild. So let's actually get into mission statements themselves, because we've been talking about them for 15 plus minutes right now. I want each of us to share our mission statement.
Cool.
And we'll share our mission statements, and then we'll talk a little bit about them and what they mean to us. So you've got yours memorized.
I do.
Internalized. So go ahead and share your mission statement.
My current mission statement is to love myself completely, be authentic, bold, and vulnerable, while inspiring others to choose a life of joy, balance, and healing. So that's my current iteration. And what's funny about that, is this the time where we could jump into a little bit of what comes out of that?
Yeah.
Well, I've had that for a minute, for a while. And what I've realized through the course of building out our business and growing in my coaching journey, I really wrote the mission statement for that. So what I just read to you really has become the mission for my passion, my passion work, my business. And so I think that's fascinating that I wrote this thinking it was going to be how I was going to kind of unleash this part of me, which I think I have in this realm. So where I'm at right now, you know, I mentioned earlier, I think I'm due for an iteration.
Yeah.
I think I made that mission statement to carry me into the next stage of really propelling forward what I'm passionate about and what I want to share with others. And so I think this mission statement is now going to kind of float on its way and carry our business.
Yeah.
And now it's time for me to do a little bit of reevaluating, a little bit of further discovery, and see what unfolds out of that. Especially, you know, we're due for a few changes over the next couple months in our lives. I think I'm really kind of shedding a new layer, so to speak, is into who I am. So I'm excited for that process, and I'm going to be patient and open and just surrender to what it looks like. So that's my current mission statement and how it has evolved, and I think the purpose that it's serving, and yes, to be continued on my mission statement. So
Well, it's great that you talked about what happens when you create your mission statement. You know, things get into action.
Sure.
Right? And what's incredible is, you know, you create a mission statement, and whether you're conscious of it or not, things start happening because of what you put in your mission statement. So it's very important that you are incredibly intentional with every word that you insert into your mission statement, because every word influences what then happens next. And, you know, I know for myself, I'm on my third mission statement. And when I created my second one, I didn't realize at the time what I was putting out there into the universe and the big games that I was playing, that I was saying I wanted to play because of what I put in my mission statement. It wasn't until a year or so later where I sat down and really looked at it with Coach, with Day. And we looked at it and said, okay, let's look at the things that you've experienced in life and tie them back to the mission statement and see, oh wow, the mission statement helped create that. Because you said, Matthew, this is Day talking to me. You said, Matthew, that you were playing for this type of greatness. And then boom, it showed up, and the opportunity to be great showed up. So don't be surprised, right? And for you listener, don't be surprised when you put something in your mission statement if the opportunity to be your mission statement then presents itself, because that's just how it works. You put it out there and those opportunities come.
I love that. And flip side of that, just as many opportunities you might be served up to be that, it may not always look like that's the clear opportunity. So when I say that, I mean you might be served up with things that look like the opposite of whatever it is you put out there. So if you are proclaiming, or you believe it's part of your mission to be patient, you might get served up with a lot of opportunities to test that patience. And you don't look at them as these nicely boxed up, you know, with a bow, oh, this is my patience, you know, arriving to me. No, it's going to be people that are probably pissing you off and annoying you and hitting all those buttons, some you didn't even know about, because you said you're a patient person.
Yes. Yeah.
It's fascinating. It's
incredible. So I'm going to share my current mission statement for everyone right now. This is my third evolution of it. And my mission statement is to play wholeheartedly and from a place of joy and peace, to love unconditionally with patience and understanding, to inspire completely through my authenticity, courage, and surrender, to live healthily, honoring my body temple, and to create with abundance and confidence. So that is the third version of my mission statement, and that one came about because of the process I went through with Day. We sat down and looked at my second mission statement, which I'll read for everyone as well. And when we looked at the second mission statement, it was like, holy crap, I'm putting out there some big games. And let me And you know, and I want to go back and to say, it doesn't mean that the most recent mission statement, the one I just read, it doesn't mean that I toned it down. It doesn't mean that I decided, oh, you know what, I don't want to play big games because I don't want that to show up in my life. I don't want those opportunities to be great to show up in my life. What it means is that I became very, very intentional with what I put in there in terms of what I wanted to create an experience. So I actually became more specific because, you know, you might put something in a mission statement that's very broad, right? And then, you know, you wonder why things show up the way they show up. So the evolution of mine, and I know yours as well, Sarah, it becomes more specific, more fine-tuned, because you are able to create these whenever you want, right? And they do evolve, and they're supposed to evolve because our lives aren't static, and our interests aren't static, and our values aren't static. They evolve and they shift over time, and the thing that is helping to guide those and cement those, our mission statement, needs to be able to evolve with it. So here is my second mission statement that that I sat down and really looked at and evolved a bit. To love myself towards a state of balance so that I can truly give back from a cup that is overflowing and help awaken others to their highest version of self. And the part of that mission statement that was really showing up again and again and again, opportunities to live it, was the love myself. Because I started to really understand what it was like to love myself unconditionally. And opportunities in our lives just came up again and again and again to sit and love myself. And when I sat down with Day and we talked about that and we looked at the experiences that had happened over the past, 12, 24 months since creating the mission statement, it was like, holy crap, those came about because of what we put in the mission statement. And so this new one, the one that I read just a minute ago, it still has, loving myself in there. But, again, it's evolved and it's more specific. Powerful.
Ooh, that was some sexy stuff, Bivens. Usually I'm in the car listening and I'm like, ooh, dang, that was great. That was awesome. But now I get to sit in here.
Yeah. And so let's talk a bit about some examples that we've experienced with other people.
Okay.
Mission statements. I know you've worked with a number of clients to create mission statements most recently. And so why were they interested in the first place in creating a mission statement?
That is a great question. So I think a lot of it just comes from the environments that you're in. And so if you are placing yourself in an environment like we are in 6-7 days of the week, the Your Day Balance Game, that community, I know you've mentioned it before, but it's really a community of people really dedicated to cultivating health, fitness, love, and balance. And it's all about personal growth and empowerment. And when you're in a space like that, I think you go through some stages and you inevitably take one of a couple courses. One is you spin yourself out real quick because some of that stuff is super scary and it's really confronting. And I think you notice that if you're going to stay in an environment like this, and I'm sure there are plenty all over the world, where you're not going to take that step into your greatness, or you're not going to take that time to evolve yourself, you're just going to get left in the dust, or you're going to end up judging the crap out of yourself because you're not moving at a certain pace like others are. Anyway, that's one option. I think the other is the more powerful option, to roll with it, to surrender to what it looks like, and to really dive in, to
step up.
See what it looks like for yourself. So the people who I've worked with and have approached me to work on their mission statement have mostly been from within that community and are just at a stage where they're ready to start figuring out, where am I going? What's my North Star? And these are people at all different awesome stages in their lives. Some are married with kids, not married, super successful in their careers, 30, 40, 50 years old. Yeah. There isn't a requirement or a set person who steps into this mission statement process, it's relevant to all of us across all demographics, life stages, and spaces.
Yeah, like
so that's really cool about it.
You've got people who are entrepreneurs. You have people who are working corporate jobs. You have people who are stay-at-home parents.
Yes.
And again, a mission statement, the North Star for your life, does not have any. It does not look like any particular thing.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to have a mission statement. You know what I mean? You don't have to be leading other people. I use air quotes on that in order to have a mission statement. And the reason why I use air quotes is because we are all leaders.
Right.
You know, we are all leaders. At the very, very least, you know, we are leaders of ourselves. And so the mission statement is something that every leader, I believe, needs to have.
Right. And to go back to your question of why people are ready for this, I think they're starting to become aware of that leadership role that they have. And they may have, before that, only thought it was exclusive to their jobs.
Yeah.
Or maybe even their homes. But now they're seeing that they influence across multiple levels and across multiple environments. So the most receptive person for this process, and the ones I love working with the most, are seeing the changes, you know, seeing the tides rolling in, so to speak, and they're ready. They're ready to step into what that is, and they're open to explore, and they're open for feedback, and they're transparent. The mission statement process is only going to serve you as much as you're willing to show up for it.
Yeah.
And that includes your level of transparency and vulnerability. So that's a beautiful thing to watch unfold when I work with people.
And when you create a mission statement, it's also you being very proactive. And I want to read another quick passage from 7 Habits that talks about mission statement and proactivity. Stephen Covey writes, "Once you have that sense of mission, you have the essence of your own proactivity. You have the vision and the values which direct your life. You have the basic direction from which you set your long and short-term goals. You have the power of a written constitution based on correct principles against which every decision concerning the most effective use of your time, your talents, and your energies can be effectively measured."
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Looking for a new career? Welcome to Do HVAC Training Service Center in North Charleston. Enroll today in our comprehensive HVAC training hands-on field experience-based program, covering troubleshooting, maintenance, installation, and more on various HVAC systems and ductwork. We offer EPA and NATE preparation and testing, along with various certifications. Enjoy payment options. Achieve certification in under 5 months. Enroll now for your new journey of skill development and career advancement. Log on to dewhvactrainingsc.com to inquire.
So I love that he talks about mission statement being proactive, because that is really what it is, you know, and you know, going back to this truth that we are all leaders of ourselves. Where are you leading yourself? Where are you taking yourself? You know, and that's where the proactivity comes in. And a mission statement is an amazingly beautiful expression of being proactive in your life. And in the passage I just read, Covey also talks about, once you have the mission statement, he says that, you know, the power of a written constitution is that you can then measure all of your decisions against that mission statement. I mentioned that earlier, but I think it's worth bringing back up. You can measure your decision making. So, you know, your career, your choice in partner, the project that you want to get into, a partnership you want to form. Once you have your mission statement, you can say, okay, do these things help me get closer to my mission or further away? And that's so important, because if something is going to take you further away from your mission, and your mission is based off of your values, it's based off of what you want to experience in life, it's based off of how you want to feel, and the decision you're about to make is taking you further away from that, well, guess what? You have no one to blame when you start to experience and feel the opposite of what you said you wanted to, because you put it in your mission statement and you made the decision to go against it. So a mission statement is proactive. A mission statement is a mark of personal accountability and responsibility. And yeah, when people approach you and they say, Sarah, I want you to help me create a mission statement, that's them saying, I want to take a freaking bold stance with my life. I want to be about something.
Right.
I want to be a badass in this thing we call life.
Right.
And you're the expert, so help me craft that statement that's going to really propel my life forward in a powerful direction.
And it's a tool, right? It's a tool of assessment. So like what you were saying, kind of measuring things up as to, does this align with my mission or does it not? That doesn't mean there's opportunity now to judge whatever you do, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, okay, this aligned, great. Or this didn't align, and that's probably why it yielded this result. So is what it is. Let's dust it off and move on to the next thing. And there are consequences to writing a mission statement. That's something I talk about with people when I move through the process as well, is there could be some people that are in your life right now that may not be there a year from now. And it could be people that you would not expect to not be around.
Yeah.
Your job might change. Your relationship might change. They're just all byproducts of what you've created, what you've kind of uncovered. You know, maybe there's something to the idea that your mission statement, you know, do you write it or are you discovering it? And even though there's iterations, are you just uncovering now that next layer within yourself and discovering what's true for you at that stage in your life, and that's where you feel called or moved to go forward into.
Powerful. So I want you to take us through the process right now, very briefly, the process that you take your clients through when it comes to a mission statement, so that that those listening can get an idea as to what goes into it and the next steps that they can take if they want to, you know, create a mission statement for themselves.
Right. So there's a couple of steps. It is a very, I wouldn't say regimented, but it's very methodical, very intentional process. And I start with looking at values. And when I'm talking about values, yes, what matters to you, but then there's also flip sides of that. I mentioned earlier, you know, what gets you ticking. Chances are, if you think about the times when you're most upset, when you're most irked, there's something under that. There's a core value of yours that isn't being honored. And that's why you're really revved up about whatever it is. So I really explore that kind of first, because it's easier for people to get in touch with what makes them angry rather than what matters to them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we start, and then it evolves from there, and eventually we get a list of, you know, I'm abbreviating here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that goes in between all of these stages, but we come up with a list of your core values. And what's great about that is when you know what you value most, you know, what your top value, for instance, is, you can prioritize them. You now know what you are aiming to experience in any sort of conflict or situation. So if my number one value, for instance, is love, let's use that as an example, I now know going into a situation, whether it's with myself, other people, my end goal in that is to be love, or is to express love in whatever love looks like to you. Love may look totally different to you than it does to me. So that's also part of the process, is exploring what your value actually means to you. You know, it's a word, but what's behind that word? So moving on from values, we talk about things like your gifts, talents, and passions. What things have you been innately gifted with that you can use to serve you and others? Or things that you've taken time to cultivate, and things that you have worked on to be so awesome at that it almost looks like a gift. And then what gets you out of bed in the morning? What really excites you? So we talk about that for a little bit, and then we move into talking about your environments. Where are you physically day in and day out? How are you within your personal environment, emotionally day in and day out? What do your relationships look like? And what does it look like for you to feel fulfilled in certain areas of your life, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially, mentally? What does it look like when you are at your greatest self in all of those areas? So then we take all of that together, we, you know, pile it all up. We look for consistencies and repetitions and things that correspond. And then it just kind of formulates into this statement, this mission statement of who you are and what you're about. It's almost like the Matrix or something, like the numbers just fall into place.
Yeah.
Because you've done all of that self-work, because you've done all of that discovery. And this can take a while. This isn't just, sit down one afternoon and hammer this thing out.
No, I mean, I've watched you go through 4, 5, 6 different sessions with people to hammer out the mission statement.
Sure. So that's a truncated little version for you.
Yeah, and what I loved about the process that I went through to create my mission statement is that once it became clear on my values, gifts, talents, passions, environment, I then had a lot of the pieces, and then the next part was really massaging them into place.
Yes.
Right? Like, okay, here's something I want to put in a sentence. So let me flesh out this sentence right here. Oh, okay, this one's a little long. Let me chop it down here. Let me add a word here. Ooh, let me put this sentence before this one. Oh, how am I going to connect the two? And that was a really fun, creative process because it was like I had all of these amazing ingredients, and now I'm going to create something with them. And so I get to add a little bit of this and move this over here. And it was just, I remember that being very exciting for me because I knew I was very close to having this statement, this mission, this North Star that I was going to then, write down on a piece of paper and hang it on my wall next to my computer in the office and put it on the mirror in the bathroom and use it as a bookmark and eventually go from writing it down to memorizing it to internalizing it.
Yes.
So that process was actually a lot of fun and was probably one of the first times that I had sat down and actually looked at and really thought deeply about my values. About what I valued. And that part of the process that you take people through, I think, is particularly powerful because you start with a huge list of values and then you slowly start to shave them down. And then I know that you have them prioritize their values.
Yes.
And why is that important?
Like I said, I think it's important to know what your number one value is because then you know what you're moving with and what your intention is whenever you move into a situation. What's really cool is when you know other people who have done this work and you know their values, like your spouse or your coworker or your best friend, you now know how they're going to show up more consistently because chances are if they've done that work and they know what they value most, they're most consistently going to show up like that.
Yeah.
So when I'm working with people, I almost always use the example of Day, our mentor and coach. And I know and have known this, that his number one value is greatness. So I remind myself of this when he shows up because he is probably one of the most consistent person I've ever met.
Yeah.
When he's kind of given me the fire because I am a student of his. And so sometimes, there's those teachings when I'm not understanding why is he being mean? Or why is he drilling?
Yeah.
Because his number one value is greatness.
Yeah.
And when I know that, I don't have to be upset. I don't have to feel personally slighted or emotionally attacked. I know that he sees something in me, and that's why he's doing what he's doing, to pull out whatever greatness is on the other end of whatever my resistance or bull that I'm pulling in that moment is. So that's awesome to know because then there isn't this guessing game with people. And so number one value is huge. And then numbering them after that is just really important to know where, because then, okay, you fall down to the next one and the next one. And that doesn't mean any are less important. It's just how it shows up for you.
And you know what I've experienced is that once you have those values down and once you prioritize them, you'll then be presented with opportunities to test or just to see, is love really your top value, or is family really your top value? Like you'll have an opportunity to choose. Like let's say family is your number one, you have love your number two. You'll have an opportunity to really test that and to see, okay, is family truly your number one value? And if you're listening and you're thinking, I don't really want that sort of life test, I don't want to be presented with that opportunity. Well, what's interesting about that is you are creating opportunities in your life right now, every single day, to test your beliefs. really to look at and to challenge those things that you are saying with your mouth that you believe in or thinking with your mind that you believe. So if you're not intentional about that, imagine the opportunities that are presenting when you are unintentional about it, when it's not on your conscious mind, right? Imagine what you are creating when you're not intentional and not conscious versus what you would create if you were intentional and very conscious about it. So that's kind of how I look at this reality of when you put something out there, then you are going to be presented with an opportunity to really be it.
Oof.
Now, mission statement, we've been talking this whole time about personal mission statements. But there's another type of mission statement that I want to briefly get into. That's the couple's mission statement.
Yes, there are many kinds of mission statements.
Yeah, there are many there are many kinds, excuse me. You know, you could have a mission statement for your business. You know, you and I actually probably need to go and create a mission statement for each of our businesses that we work on together, because each of us are such an integral part of each other's businesses. So that's, you know, listeners out there, you can hold us to that. That's a way to keep us accountable.
Continued.
Yeah, that'll be another episode. I'll talk about our business mission statements, but I did want to get briefly into couples mission statement, because that's powerful as well.
Yes.
You know, if you know, let's say each partner in the partnership, each person in the partnership has an individual mission statement, like that's one level of awesomeness, right? You can even ratchet that up by then creating a mission statement for the couple, for the partnership itself. And we've gone through that process.
Yes.
You and I went through that process. When did we do that? A couple of years.
The first time we went through it was September. It says here, I'm actually looking in a journal of 2013.
So that was almost 3 years ago.
Yes.
Well, not almost, but this September it'll be 3 years ago. And we've done that. We revisited it most recently, a couple months ago. We revisited the couple's mission statement and what's known as a degrace, which is a part of, you know, putting together that win-win agreement, which again is a part of Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. By the way, if you haven't read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, go do yourself a favor. Buy the book. Buy the book. Buy the audio book if you'd rather listen to it, and just read this thing, and then read it again, and then read it one more time. Because the things that are talked about, that Covey talks about in that book, are just so powerful. But I am getting off on a tangent. Let's get back into couple mission statement. And will you read our couple's mission statement?
Sure. So this is the couple's mission statement from September of 2013. So I think we've uncovered that it's time to revisit, but it's going to be cool to read it and see what's come out of it. So we wrote to create a loving, thriving, understanding, and communicative partnership that is building a home, family, and personal growth. And then below that, we kind of broke down what each of those elements looked like to us, you know, home, family, and personal growth. And just reading it and thinking about it now, in the time since we wrote this, we were in a 2-bedroom apartment when we wrote this. And so now we're living in a home.
In a home.
We are growing our family.
Literally.
Maya's actually kicking right now. And personal growth. I mean,
that's been a
how many thousands of hours have we put in individually and collectively?
Oh, we've tabbed it up. Over 2,000 hours.
Each, yeah. 2,000
hours of very intentional, paying attention to ourselves, deep diving, and working on growing and healing. Each, like you said.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's, like I said, when you put something in a mission statement, you're putting it out there, and you revisit that mission statement a few months down the road, a few years down the road, and your mind will be blown at what you've accomplished and what you've created because you put it in the mission statement in the first place.
I would say it has served us well.
It has.
And it is ready to evolve.
It has. Now, if people are interested in mission statements, you and I have been working on this pretty amazing thing called Humble Badass.
Yes, we have. It's our other baby.
Yes, Humble Badass really is. It is our other baby. And it takes so much of what we've learned in the 2,000 plus hours of intentional work on ourselves, figuring out who we are, what we're about, who we are being, what we want to accomplish, And Humble Badass takes all of that and puts it into this amazing program, an 8-week program that really helps people who are feeling overwhelmed, imbalanced, uninspired. It helps you to know who you are and what you're about, get a grip on everything that is your life, and become a humble badass. And mission statements, not just mission statements, but values, gifts, talents, passions, environment, all of that plus mission statement is in Humble Badass, along with about 5 or 6 other different sections that are all packaged together. And so I just wanted to put it out there. Check out Humble Badass. If a mission statement is something you're interested in, then it's covered and more within Humble Badass. And I'm going to put a link to the Humble Badass page on the show notes for this episode. So if you're in the car right now and you're listening through iTunes or Stitcher or whatever your podcast app is, I would encourage you to, when you're at a place and you're stopped and the car is in park, go to firesidenetwork.com. That's firesidenetwork.com. Search for the show, Having It All. Find this episode. This episode is all about mission statements. And go to the show notes at the bottom of the episode. And from there, you'll be able to check out Humble Badass. And you can also go to Sarah, your website, yes, backtocomplete.com. That's BACKTO complete.com. And on there, they'll also be able to find Humble Badass. And what do you have to say about Humble Badass and the mission statement process within it?
Gosh, it just excites me so much. I believe in it so firmly, not just because it's something we've created together, but it's a joint co-creation of everyone I've probably met in my life and has had a significant role in my life, and everyone that we interact with in our day-to-day here. It's a compilation of experiences, lessons learned, blood, sweat, and tears spent. It's all of that. And I believe in it because we live it.
Yeah.
There's nothing in this that we haven't gone through, seen, evaluated ourselves. So I'm very much in a space of being the type of coach that walks the talk. And I won't work through something with a client that I myself haven't personally done. And that's why this is so meaningful, really, to me, just because I know the value and the impact of it because I've experienced it, I've lived it. So like I said earlier, what I do in my coaching, paying that forward, expressing that gratitude is what goes into my coaching. That's what this is an extension of. This is an extension of gratitude to everyone who has supported me in getting me to where I am right now. And that's what Humble Badass is. It's this beautifully combined entity within all of us of this humble, content, peaceful space, but yet totally intentional, totally powerful and badass. All of that combined. I believe that all of us have that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So to wrap this up, I just want to say for the people out there who don't know what your path is in life, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like you don't have direction, then this episode, the topic that we've been covering, mission statements are a tool to help you find that direction, a tool to help you get on the path. It is what would have made me experience a whole lot less stress and anxiety through high school and college. It is what, last night we were at our meetup that we go to every Wednesday night, and we have all the newcomers. If it's your first night there, everybody, they walk up front, they share their name, they share who invited them, and they share what they're playing for in life. And a young woman came up last night, probably in her 30s, so millennial, maybe Gen X, and she said, and I remember this so vividly because I'm thinking, we're talking about mission statements tomorrow. She went up there and she said, I don't know what my path is right now. I'm not really sure where I'm going in life. I don't have direction. I want direction, and I'm playing for direction. And man, that resonated powerfully with me. So if that resonates with you, then, re-listen to this episode and go through the process of uncovering uncovering and discovering your mission statement, and put in the time and the energy and the effort into creating the mission statement, because it will become your North Star. It will give your life more a feeling of direction, a feeling of being on path. And I encourage you, be bold and transparent and vulnerable, and do that work to figure out what it is that you're all about, what it is that you value, what it is that you're just innately talented at, what it is that you're passionate about. Package all of that up into a statement for your life, and then I would love to hear what happens in your life once you do that. I would absolutely love to hear that. So, jump over to my website, MatthewBivens.com, MatthewBivens.com, and contact me, get in touch with me, and let me know what happens, what has happened, or maybe what your thoughts are on mission statement in general, the process. And this is powerful stuff, and I've just seen so much magic happen when people create mission statements for their life. Yeah. So Sarah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Boo. I love you.
I love you. This was fun. We're going to be doing more of these. Absolutely. I mean, it was part of what we had, we said we were playing for when I started Having It All. We said that we wanted to do couples conversations where we hang out and just talk about topics. And the fact that I have an expert on all this stuff who, is right next to me in bed, who I get to wake up with and go to sleep with every night and hang out with. The fact that, you're so accessible. I want to get your genius on record and in people's ears and brains, because the things that you've experienced and learned and the wisdom you've collected can help so many people just stop beating their head against the wall and get unstuck and become badasses. So I love you. Thank you for hanging out and chatting with me. And thank you all for listening. Everyone out there, go get it. This is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you, having it all. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal physical or mental health.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.